Hello everybody, my name is Hasty Swampert and I am back to bring you all my draft for UPA Season 5. Now, I am excited because we really changed as a league and I've gotten a really neat draft. Can't wait to show it to you, but first I just want to go over a few things first before I go into the draft. So, I'm going to go to the stat sheet, and if you look, we have divisions now. So, if you look, we have Hoenn Conference, Kalos Conference. I'm in the Unova division in the Kalos Conference, and I am with these teams. Pretty much what happens here is I have to battle these three people 2 times compared to just once. Oh, and I don't battle everybody in the league. I only battle certain teams. Just you have to keep that in mind. The last 4 seasons you battle everyone, but this time it's just certain people you battle. And these certain people you battle twice. So the Hey Luchas is Immortal Mence. The Mexico City Ludicolos is John, or we also call him Cat on a Sandwich. New York Simipours is me. And the Baltimore O'Reillys is my friend Ben, or Shiny Sableye 17. So we're going to be battling these people twice at different times. And for playoffs, it's the top seed per division and then 2 wild cards. So it's going to be difficult for me because I battled Mence. Mence was hard. He beat me pretty good, like 4-0. And then I never battled John, but I heard he's very good. Really, really good. So it's going to be really competitive in our division. So now that we got that out of the way, time to go over the draft. So when I was going to make my draft, I wanted to go back to how I was in Season 3. Because if you watched Season 3, I managed to get myself into the playoffs of Season 3. And I got like 6 wins and 3 losses out of those 9 weeks. So I had a really good performance, and I was happy with it. I only lost against 2 really hard opponents and Corman. But Corman he's a bit difficult. He's not bad, not to put him down or anything. Corman's decent. So I made this draft plan. Me and Caleb were in a call a few hours before the draft, and first thing he wanted me to get, we talked about the draft order. First things first, he wanted me to get Keldeo, which was on my draft list. Now, I wanted Keldeo because it got a lot of kills for me last season. It has 108 speed, 129 special attack, really nice. It has Secret Sword so you can beat those pesky Chanseys and Blissies. It has Scald for burns. I could run Hydro Pump, but the one drawback is that it doesn't get Ice Beam, so I have to run like Hidden Power Ice or Icy Wind for that matter. But it also gets Taunt for hazard removal, or not hazard removal, but like hazard prevention. That's the right word right there. But I felt like Keldeo was just an effective Pokemon for me to use last season, and I just thought, you know what, let's get that again for my water Pokemon for the Firewood Grass Core. Now, next up, Caleb thought I should get my Fire type. And the Fire type, believe it or not, is not Victini. But don't worry. Even though parting with Victini is probably hard, I am going to get... Well, no, I'm not even going to get... I already got it. We have Darmanitan. Now, Darmanitan is powerful. Really, really powerful. It has sheer force and 140 attack. So, usually you run Jolly, so you're going to have 379. But you also get a 30% chance boost with sheer force. Like, so if I run Flare Blitz, I get 33 extra power because of the chance to burn. I also get sheer force from Rock Slide. I get sheer force from Fire Punch if I want to run that, but I don't think I'll run that. What else? I don't get I get it from Zen Headbutt, but I don't think I'm gonna run Zen Headbutt. It doesn't get Thunder Punch, which is a little odd, but Sheer Force Flare Blitz hits very hard. It gets U-turn to switch out. It isn't that versatile, And Zen mode is really tough to use. I don't think I'm going to use it, but people are daring me to use Zen mode Darmanitan. We'll have to see about that. But it's just really powerful. You can give it a Choice Scarf. It hits hard. Choice Band if I wanted to be that kind of person. Or I typically run Life Orb though, so that'll be what I'll have for most of the part. Though I don't want to give away too much to my opponents, so I'll have to be careful about that. But that's it for Darmanitan. Now, to complete the Fire Water Grass Core, I got my man Roserade. Now, Roserade is really cool to use because it has Sleep Powder to put your opponent to sleep. Now, there is a sleep clause, so I can't put multiple Pokemon to sleep. I can only put one. But putting one Pokemon to sleep is still very essential in helping me win. It also gets spikes for hazards. It gets Technician so that you can get hidden powers, which are base 90 power. So it's a really nice buff for hidden power to have Technician. And most Technician users are physical, but Roserade is special, so that really helps. It gets Sludge Bomb, it gets Giga Drain, it gets those kinds of moves. It has 90 speed, which isn't too much, but 125 special attack is very, very nice. So, really nice. And also, if the issue calls for it, I could run Toxic Spikes, but I don't see myself running that. Just thought I'd point that out. But yeah, I loved using Roserade, and Roserade for this is going to be shiny because it's nicknamed Jamie, and Jamie was a Rosalia, which was shiny. I never evolved it to Roserade though, so this is like if Jamie the Rosalia were to evolve to a Roserade, so that's why Roserade's gonna be shiny. It's gonna be like the only shiny, so yeah. Now, I don't remember the exact draft order, but I think after this, oh, now I remember. Now, the real problem was the 4th round, because I wanted to either get Florjays or Togekiss, but both of those were taken round 3 or round 2, and round 1 around there, so I'd have to think of some kind of alternative of a Pokemon which can be a Cleric and is a Fairy type. So because of that, I ended up going with Togetic. Now, Togetic I am not a huge fan of, mainly because fighting it's a real pain. Sorry, my voice just cracked. But it has 55 hit points, which is not a huge number to be wishing. So if I want to get a wish, it gets 50% of the user's max hit points. So really, the fact I'd have to run an odd number for Stealth Rock doesn't help. 156 is not a lot. That's like not even half for Darmanitan. It's not even half for Keldeo. It's over half for Jamie, but Jamie has a small hit point number compared to Darmanitan and Keldeo. So there's a problem with its low hit point stat, but it has a nice, beautiful 105 special defense and 85 defense. With the Eviolite, it becomes rather bulky, and it's literally just a cheaper Togekiss. It was a D rank, so it was rather low, but it gets Thunder Wave, it gets Air Slash, so I can do those parafusing shenanigans. It gets Defog, it gets Heal Bell, it gets Wish, gets Roost if I don't want to do that. I can Baton Pass with Nasty Plot. I can do all sorts of things with this. I doubt I'll run offensive, but also gets Soft Boiled. That's a little weird, but it gets the same hit points as Roost. Yeah, same power points as Roost, so that's not important. But Togetic is not the greatest pick. I'm not a fan of it, but hey, you never know. So next up, I wanted to get my Mega. So I wanted to get Mega Ampharos. Now, I was debating between Mega Pinsir or Mega Ampharos, but someone was interested in Mega Pinsir, but he ended up not getting it. So Mega Ampharos was just a safer pick. It's a Dragon type. It's an electric type. It has Volt Switch to switch out. It has Heal Bell if I wanted to do that, but I doubt I'll have Heal Bell Ampharos. It also is very bulky, so Yeah, very nice special attack. Very bulky. It can take super effective hits and not die to them immediately for most of the part. If they're not powerful enough, that is. 45 speed's not a lot, but I have agility if I wanted to run like an agility Ampharos. But I don't think the circumstances are going to call for that, but you never know. So that's it for Ampharos. I like Ampharos. Favorite Mega Evolution. So next up, we have. I wanted to get a Stealth Rocker because I don't have any Pokemon with Stealth Rocks yet. Also, I have this big ground weakness, and I do have a. I don't have too much of a rock weakness. A lot of Pokemon neutral to rock, but I wanted to kind of patch those things up. Fairy types give me a problem, too. So, I wanted to get Bronzong. Now, Bronzong is really interesting because it's a Steel Psychic type. It ended up getting nerfed for Gen 6 because now it's weak to Ghost and Dark, but it has Levitate, so it's immune to ground, which was like the main selling point. And it gets Stealth Rocks, it gets Screens, it has Gyro Ball, which can hit decently with its low 33 speed. Its bulk is good. I'll have to give it that. But the problem is that it doesn't have much. I wouldn't say much. It doesn't have reliable recovery. I'd have to run Rest, or I'd have to run a Cleric. So that's where Togetic comes into play. So not too much to add. I've used Bronzong a few times. I think it will be a good fit for the team. Its offenses aren't that high. They're kind of meh, but I still think Bronzong was a good choice. So we'll see how Bronzong does. Bronzong is a cool Pokemon. Has a nice design. So that is it for the first half. Now, the second half, I will give to you after I get some water. Much better. Okay, so where were we? Okay, we're at the second half of the team. Alright, so at the second half of the team, I felt like I needed a defogger. I also didn't have an offensive ground type or a Pokemon which can be offensive. So, what I thought I'd do was, I thought I'd get something familiar. That is, get another ground immunity too, so Flygon. So, Flygon is a cool Pokemon. It's my favorite dragon type too, so that's also nice. But it gets Defog. It resists Stealth Rock compared to Togetic. It gets Outrage, it gets Earthquake. I could have run Special. Special isn't that powerful, but I might want to run it from time to time. I've heard some people could run it defensive, which maybe could work, but it could work. I might do it once or twice, who knows. It also gets Roost, so it can do a defensive role, but I could probably run offensive and Roost. It can work, trust me. But there's not much to add. It's just I wanted another offensive ground type with Defog, so Flygon was able to fit it. So, and now after that, I was gonna get this Pokemon later in the draft, but I wanted to snag it now just to be safe because I had a huge ice weakness with Roserade, Ampharos, Flygon. I thought that I should get this thing, Snorlax, because Snorlax has thick fat, so really it resists fire moves and ice type moves, so it's really nice. And it also has big defensive stats, so I could run that, and it's pretty tough to break through. It's like not exactly blissy, but it's like pretty fat for a special offensive side. You could also put it in the defense, which I like to do because the defense is a little bit soft. It's not completely soft, but you could run like an impish nature and it'll bring your defense up to a reasonable level. It also has 110 attacks, so if I wanted to run like an Assault Vest offensive Snorlax, it can completely work. And I can also phase with it with Whirlwind, which I don't see myself doing. Maybe it'll happen, who knows. But I think Snorlax was going to be able to fit well. I didn't have a ghost immunity also, so Snorlax was able to compensate for that. So Snorlax, I can't wait to use Snorlax. Snorlax will be a really nice team member. So after getting that, I was then able to snag this thing. I wanted an offensive psychic type, so I got myself Sigilif. Now, Sigilif is really interesting because it seems like an outclassed psychic type, but the thing is, it's more versatile. It has magic guard, so you can't get toxic stalled out. So like I could run a life orb and I won't get like toxic stalled out. It gets crazy amounts of moves. It gets Air Slash, it gets Dark Pulse, Dazzling Gleam, Energy Ball, Heat Wave, Ice Beam. You don't need to get hidden powers, which is amazing. It makes it so much easier to put out damage. So, be like, oh, I gotta run Hidden Power Ice. Nope, just put on Ice Beam. Oh, I have to run Hidden Power Fire? Nope, Heat Wave. And does it get Focus Blast? No, it doesn't get Focus Blast. You'd have to run Hidden Power Fighting. But I don't see myself using Hidden Power Fighting. It gets Psychic and Psyshock. It also gets Cosmic Power in Roost. So I could do like Cosmic Power and Stored Power, or Calm Mind and Stored Power. That's really powerful. It can also get a Flame Orb and use Psycho Shift to transmit burns. And another thing is, it doesn't miss, which I really like. So I can do that with a Toxic Orb or a Flame Orb. And it also gets Thunder Wave. So it can inflict all three types of status, which is great. So it just has a big move pool. It has a big move pool, good amount of versatility. I really look forward to using it. I've used Sigilif before. I've used it season 1. Can't wait to use him again. Sigilif is just cool. 103 may not be a lot, but it also has okay defenses, and it has 97 speed, so it can work. So next up, what did I get next? I'm like, okay, now I remember what I get. So after this, I needed a dark type. I needed a Pursuit Trapper because I overheard Survive one day say in the chat that every team should at least have one Pursuit Trapper. So, or at least a user of Pursuit. So because of that, I decided to pick Absol because it's very cheap. It's a D rank, but it's like using a Bisharp, except it's not steel typed, it's just pure dark, because it has 130 attack, 75 speed. Its bulk is crummy, let's be honest here, that's crummy bulk, but it gets knockoff, it gets, what else? It does get Pursuit, it gets, oh, I misspelled it, I was scared, I was like, oh no, did it not get Pursuit? But it does get Pursuit. It gets Play Rough, it gets Superpower, it gets Iron Tail, which is weird, but it has all of these cool moves you could use. It's rather versatile. It also gets Mega Horn. I could do Super Luck and Night Slash, which is also a really cool idea, which I might do once or twice, but it's just really, it has that nice offensive presence. A lot of people don't really pay attention to regular Absol too much, but it's like 130 attack, really nice, 75 speed, little bit slow, but that's fine. Because it gets Sucker Punch, so that problem's kind of gone for most of the part. Now, from here, I thought I wanted to get a Sticky Web Setter. Now, the high tier Sticky Web Setters, which I did have the points for during the draft, I felt like weren't great. Like, I'm not a big fan of Galvantula because it's not that powerful, but it has 108 speed, which is really nice. But I didn't like, it's just one-dimensional. I don't know why. I'm not a fan of Galvantula. But, and then there's Shuckle. Shuckle I felt like would be dead weight for most of the part, unless you knew like when to use it or how to use it right. So I wanted to kind of leave Shuckle out of the equation. So what I decided to go for was an E rank. So my E rank pick was Leaveney. Now Leaveney I used back in season 1. I mainly used it as a Sticky Webber. If you also remember that one time I used Grass Whistle, good times. But I wanted Leaveney because Sticky Web, it has 92 speed, not bad, 103 attack. You could, and it has moves like Leaf Blade and what was the other thing? X Scissor as its stab moves. Its move pool's not the greatest. It has a few move choices, which is nice, but it's not that versatile. But I felt like it would be able to fit the job, so I wanted to get Leaveney. I feel like it would be a Sticky Webber, yet it has a bit of force into it when fighting. So that's why I got Leaveney instead of Shuckle or Galvantula. Now, the last Pokemon I felt like didn't matter too much. You won't believe what it is, though. So, from here, I wanted an Ice type. I talked to Caleb about this one when making this draft. So, I was like, you know what? I want an Ice type. So he's like, how about Glaceon or Cryogonal or... Did he say Glaceon? I don't think he said Glaceon. He said, why not Cryogonal? It gets Rapid Spin. But then we thought about... And I was like, you know what also gets Rapid Spin? Delibird. And I was like, you dare me to draft Delibird? And he was like, yeah. So, guess what? I got Delibird. Yes, I know. I'm crazy. But I felt like this pick wouldn't matter too much. But I thought it would be very funny if I make it work. So, here's how Delibird works. It has Vital Spirit. So, you can't go to sleep. And it also gets Insomnia. Hustle could be gimmicky, but I could use that. Hustle, I'm not a huge fan of, but we'll talk about Hustle in a few moments later. So, I was thinking, how about Delibird? It gets Destiny Bond. It gets Spikes. It has Rapid Spin. It has Freeze Dry. It has Ice Beam. It has Dragon Ascent. Just kidding. It doesn't get Dragon Ascent. Don't believe me, people. But it has weird moves. I think I'd run it as like a spinner, but it also is immune to sleep, so it could threaten some Pokemon. I'd mainly run like Sash on it, run it as like some kind of lead, but I think that's it for the draft. So I don't know when week 1 is gonna come out, but it'll happen. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, I would like it if you leave a like, comment, subscribe. That is, if you enjoyed it, and let's get ourselves some hype for Season 5 for the New York Simipours. Woo!